It was a stormy night, rain pouring heavily, and thunder growling like an angry beast in the distance. I had just moved into an old Victorian mansion that had stood vacant for years, its walls echoing with the weight of untold stories. With each passing minute, the rain intensified, almost as if it were trying to keep me locked inside. But I had to explore. Curiosity beckoned me to venture into the deepest part of the house, the cellar. The cellar's entrance was concealed behind a massive oak door, and as I pushed it open, a chilling gust of wind swept through me. The smell of dampness and decay filled my nostrils, but I couldn't turn back now. Armed with only a flickering candle, I cautiously descended the creaking wooden steps, my heart pounding in my chest. The deeper I descended, the colder it became, and the flickering candle seemed to cast menacing shadows on the rough stone walls. Suddenly, I heard a distant sound, faint but unmistakable, chains rattling against cold metal. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, but my curiosity led me on. As I reached the bottom of the stairs, I found myself in a dimly lit chamber, barely large enough to stand upright. Against one of the walls was an ancient iron door, the source of the haunting clanking chains. My pulse quickened, and I stepped closer, my trembling hand reaching out to touch the rusted surface. "Who's there?" I called out into the darkness, my voice quivering. But my question was met only with eerie silence. I decided to open the door and reveal the source of the noise. As I turned the cold iron handle, a chilling gust of wind rushed out, extinguishing my candle, plunging me into complete darkness. Groping my way around, I found a hidden switch on the wall. The cellar was bathed in an eerie, pale light, revealing an unsettling sight. There, in the corner of the room, was a massive iron chain bolted to the stone floor, leading to a set of manacles hanging ominously from the ceiling. Fear took hold of me, but I was compelled to know more. I approached the chain, and as I got closer, I noticed strange markings on the floor, sigils and symbols, some of which I'd never seen before. They seemed to be forming a protective circle around the chained area. As I traced the symbols with my fingers, I felt a sudden presence behind me. I spun around to find nothing but shadows dancing on the stone walls. My heart pounded loudly in my ears as I tried to gather my courage and figure out what was happening. That's when I heard a faint, low growl, like that of a wounded animal. Panic surged through my veins, and my instinct to flee screamed louder than ever. But something else held me in place, an inexplicable connection to the chained beast. Taking a deep breath, I summoned my courage and decided to investigate further. The symbols on the floor, the eerie chains, and the growling, there had to be a connection. Maybe someone had been trying to imprison something in this cellar, something dark and malevolent. Feeling a mix of terror and curiosity, I stepped inside the protective circle. The growling grew louder, and the chains strained against their restraints. The cellar seemed to come alive with an eerie energy, and the walls appeared to vibrate with suppressed power. In that moment, a ghastly apparition materialized before my eyes. It was a creature of nightmares, half human, half beast, with bloodshot eyes and matted fur. The chained beast lunged at me with bared fangs, but the invisible barrier held it back. As it snarled and clawed, I felt a deep sadness emanating from the creature. It wasn't a monster but a tormented soul trapped in a grotesque form. I could sense its desperation for freedom, its longing for release. Trembling, I reached out my hand, touching the creature's fur. Instantly, the growling ceased, and a sense of peace washed over the room. The beast looked at me with sorrowful eyes, as if expressing gratitude. With a sudden burst of strength, I grabbed the chain and pulled it with all my might, breaking the ancient bonds that held the creature captive. The cellar filled with blinding light, and when it subsided, the chained beast had vanished. The storm outside ceased, and the house fell into an eerie silence. I knew I had set something free, something that had been imprisoned for far too long. But as I left the cellar and closed the heavy door behind me, I couldn't help but wonder if I had released a force more terrifying than the chained beast itself. The mystery of the cellar remains, a secret guarded by the old mansion's ancient walls, waiting for another curious soul to uncover its chilling truths.